Hello everybody. I'm here to do a thing that I'm not convinced I actually want to do. But I'm doing it anyway because I said I would, and also because look at what we're dealing with. Look at this mess. Anyway, thank you everybody in the chat who decided to go and give Rhetoric a hard time. He's, as far as I know, he's actually at work. So his phone is just in his pocket exploding right now. Yeah, I started out right. I'm not muted. I got some tea. I got my stuff set up. Unfortunately, the way OneNote works, is it, for whatever reason, OBS does not, it registers that it exists, but it won't show it on its own. So you guys are actually seeing a full display capture right now. So if I turn off the slideshow, look, there's you guys. So I can read you guys at the same time. It's usually how I do my reads, but quick look behind the curtain. And now my OBS is right here I'm mirrored. Whatever. Welcome. I'm glad you guys made it. This is a situation. As I said yesterday, it's not really a debate. It's more just kind of like a, nope, stop, don't do that. Nope. And so I thought it might be a good idea to kind of look through it a little bit because it's kind of bizarre. So, essentially what had happened is somebody named Nate tried to say that Steve had a bunch of people harassing Kyle's lawyer. Shocker, it didn't happen. But a whole conversation around it started, and Reds, during one of his streams, said, hey, I've seen some people making some attacks on lawyers. Don't do that. Just to be clear, you should not harass a lawyer based on who they're representing. So here's the original tweet where this strain comes from, and it's Nate, don't try and push your fuck up on me, because Nate tried to say that the reason he said Steve was harassing Kyle's lawyer was because Red said he saw some attacks on Twitter. So this was Reds clearing that up because people started being like, well, Reds, you did say this thing, and it's like, no, that's not what he said. So, Nate, don't try and push your fuck up on me, as I don't owe you a goddamn thing. You are the one that made the claim that Steve was harassing Kyle's lawyer, so now it's you who should back it up. If you can't, then apologize to Steve. I know integrity is not your thing, but try. From there, this is Science First. Let me just move these out of the way. I had this blocked off for my own reference because none of this actually really matters, and this isn't what we're here to discuss, but I will go over it briefly just because for context. This is the rape apologist guy. So Reds, when you put it out there that Kyle's lawyer was being harassed, do you know who was doing said harassment? If it wasn't someone connected to Steve, why did you disavow the behavior and appeal for it to stop? Trying to get to the bottom of this harassment incident. Hello. I have seen some tweets, and I will leave it at that. You can believe me or not, I don't care. The point, which I bet you're going to miss, was to respect the lawyers involved. So, like he said, he had seen some attacks, and he said he did not care which lawyer it was that was being attacked. Kyle's lawyer shouldn't be attacked, Steve's lawyer shouldn't be attacked, because neither should be attacked just because of who they're representing. They're just doing their job. We made this clear as soon as Kyle got a lawyer, finally. No, I take the point and agree. So your position is the harassment did happen, and the accounts involved, they were socks, or could you attribute some affiliation? Please read previous tweet. I've seen some tweets, and I'll leave it at that. Why is it that bizarre of a thing to hear that some people were saying shit on Twitter? This is not... It doesn't answer the question. Yes! Correct! Good job! It does not answer the question. You asked, he said, I'm just gonna say I said some tweets. I'm not gonna bother with anything else because that's not the point. It doesn't answer the question. This is what you're trying to say, that you're not prepared to divulge any more details about the harassment? Did anyone else come across it? If so, do you know if it was screen capped? I don't think he did take the point. I take the point and agree. Then go away. There is nothing else to be discussed here. What part of I will leave it at that was too complicated for you? Not complicated, just deeply unsatisfactory, especially as you seemed to be the only person who witnessed this. I mean, if you look at this charitably, pointing to others who saw it would help you leave it, as it takes the onus off yourself. No, it doesn't. That's not how this works. If Reds was making a claim about who was doing any kind of harassment and wasn't speaking in general terms, by pointing the finger towards somebody else, you're not resolving anything. This is exactly what Nate did. This is what you can see the problem here. Nate made a claim, then pointed in Red's direction saying, well, he's the one who was saying people harassed. Red said that he saw some shit on Twitter, some shit talking, some attacks on Twitter. That was it. And that nobody should be harassed. He didn't say anybody did it. He didn't say from anybody's side. He didn't say that it was any lawyer in particular, from what I recall. And even if he had, he was still went to go to the point to say that no, neither lawyer should be attacked by anybody. It doesn't matter, because you shouldn't attack someone based on who they're representing. You shouldn't attack a lawyer based on who they're representing, because why? They're just doing their job. They might be reprehensible people, and you might criticize them for other reasons. That's possible. And Treat Feline is also volunteering that she also saw several attacks. It's not that bizarre to see attacks on Twitter. It's Twitter. This isn't like an out of nowhere claim, right? It does not take any onus off yourself. This is why Science First is under the, oh, well, Nate pointed in your direction, so you need to prove Nate's claim for him. No, Nate has to prove his own claim. He's a big boy. He can do it himself. And then, of course, Reds, you are the last person I care to satisfy. Even typing that out makes me want to puke. That's fair. I wouldn't be interested in that either. But that's the context of what's being discussed. As it's not really important because nobody really cares, this is where Matt came in. And I just wanted to be clear about... That's why I screen capped this and why I crossed it out. It's not important, but I wanted to make sure nobody could accuse me of taking things out of context, because that is the thread up until this point. So, do you care to satisfy me or anyone else who just stumbled in seeing accusations and looking for actual evidence? I don't even know what's going on, but I'm curious. Any actual evidence that people are making it? You don't know what's going on, so at this point, what evidence are you asking for? What would pertain to be actual evidence if you don't know what you're asking for? Satisfy you about what? Right, so the satisfaction seems to be coming from what Science First over here said, saying that, well, this answer is unsatisfactory because you're not showing me anything, you're not telling me anything, right? So let's see what claim Red's made in here. Nate, don't try to push your fuck up on me, as I don't owe you a goddamn thing. You are the one that made the claim that Steve was harassing Kyle's lawyer, so it is you who should back it up. If you can't, then apologize to Steve. I know integrity is not your thing, but try. So the claim that Reds is making is saying that Nate said this thing, and we know that Nate said that thing. So, what evidence is he asking for? Is he asking for a screenshot that Nate said this thing? Or is he asking for the screenshots of whatever harassment, which is not what Reds is talking about. So if you just came in here and this is where you're entering this conversation, and you claim to not know what's going on, and you stumbled in, Matt Dillahunty has, like, 83,000 followers. Why are you here? Red's response, not really. I'm perfectly happy with my message that no lawyer, regardless of side, should be spoken about in such a regard. So, somebody said something about somebody that he didn't like. I think I may agree with you, but what evidence do we have that any lawyer was spoken to that way and who did it? I've never heard of you and have no animosity. I'm not involved in this, but it was curious to see such strong words over an accusation followed by cowering. Strong words over an accusation? Does Matt not like people telling other people to justify their claims and fuck off? I don't understand. Or is he responding to this makes no sense. What strong words? That satisfying science first makes him want to puke? Like, there's a history between these two. Like, if any of you are unaware of who Science First is, he's the one who was debating that everybody is a rape apologist. That was that guy. The guy who was trying to utilize rape victims to push a narrative against Steve and debated Reds about it and showed up on Defango's channel and talked to us all about it, and I demonstrated was, in fact, engaging in rape apologetics. That guy. So there's no surprise here that Rez does not want to deal with this person. The fact that he even answered him at all is surprising to me, quite frankly. Usually he doesn't bother from my experience, but hey, what do I know? But what strong words? Don't harass people? Don't harass people, and if you make accusations, demonstrate your accusations. Okay, I don't know what's what? What? I've never heard of you. Okay, so is this just something Matt does on a regular basis? Does he just go into random internet beefs and just decide to be like, hey, tell me what's going on and you need to tell me or you're a coward? What cowering? There is no cowering here. Is he saying that because Rez doesn't want to deal with Science First that he's cowering? By that logic, then congratulations, Matt, you're cowering towards Steve and have been the whole time. Like, what are you talking about? Golden Unicorn for 5 says, Matt stumbles a lot nowadays. Was a fan of his, not anymore. He acts like some kind of gatekeeper for atheists and skeptic community, in my personal opinion. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see where he goes. So Reds replied with, so you agree with the message without needing the tweets that promoted it. Good for you. And it's my choice to not highlight the offending tweets. All I can do is apologize if that does not satisfy. By the way, good job dealing with Psy. So, friendly so far. It does not satisfy. Look up SkEpTiCiSm. By the way, it's just as easy as this. If Matt is coming in here not knowing who Reds is, not knowing what's any of the people going on, like, doesn't know the people, doesn't know the history, doesn't know the situation, doesn't know what's happening at all, why is he being a dick? You're trying to say that I have no animosity towards you, and then you're displaying animosity. You came in here not knowing what was going on, stumbled in, seeing accusations and looking for actual evidence. The accusations were Nate not being able to back his shit up. That's the claim that Reds is making. He's saying, Nate, you made this claim, back it up, don't push your bullshit on me. So, what are you talking about? I don't know what's going on, but I'm curious. Like, it's not unknown to people that Matt doesn't like Steve. Like, this is a known thing. Like, this is not a surprise to anybody, right? Like, we all know this. But then he just doesn't get... He's like, no, you asked, do you care to satisfy me? Red says, not really. This is my message. I don't care other than that. You don't need to see anything else, and I don't have to send you any of the information that I have. Why would... and then he gets mad. And be like, oh, I don't even know if you have if any lawyer was even spoken to that way. It doesn't matter. The point is that whether they were or were not spoken to in this manner does not mean that you shouldn't speak to them in this manner. Period. Getting ahead of the cart in saying, hey, don't do this thing, is not, look, what the fuck? What is this? Okay. And then Red says, Craig, cool, we agree. We can move on now. Gives him a compliment, and then he goes and insults him 2 ways. Look up SkEpTiCiSm. By the way, it's just as easy as this. It's just this easy. What are you talking about? Make the pics last longer behind... Oh, these ones? Yeah, I can make them last longer. Can I edit it while I'm streaming? I don't know. Let's find out. Oh, that's a little bit much. Let's go. Let's do that. There we go. Hopefully that's a little bit better. You guys let me know. Inkboy for 2. Matt is curious. L, then give him Kyle's number. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. He could be asking Nate, right? Because Red said, Nate said this. It's not my job to back up your claims. Go back up your own claims. And Matt comes in here saying, but you should satisfy me. About what, Nate's claims? This doesn't follow. This isn't what skepticism is. What Matt's doing here is not skepticism. He can be skeptical that anybody got harassed. That's fine. But that is unique to whether you should or should not do something, how you should behave in this kind of a situation. So he's not necessarily being skeptical about the behavior. This is also incredibly skeptical in one direction. Again, this originated from Nate, and Red says so in his initial tweet. He also said that he's perfectly happy with not satisfying him, and he's perfectly happy that his messages don't harass lawyers based on who they're representing. I may agree with that. So, you don't know? Which means maybe you think it might be okay for people to harass lawyers based on who they're representing? Why? That's... Justify your position in that case. This doesn't make any sense. There's so many things in this, and I am gonna go backwards because later on we're gonna have to come back to this. To accept the message that no lawyer should be spoken about in such regard should be easy, very easy indeed. You're wrong. First, I need to know what was said to a lawyer in order to determine whether or not it was justified. He spelled justified wrong, but I assume that's what he meant. It's almost like you haven't thought this through and just expect a vague aphorism to gain you assent and approval without supplying any substance. No. Absolutely not. Yeah, we'll get there, Helios. You don't need to know whether or not harassment took place and whether you would consider it harassment to know that you shouldn't harass people on the general. And Reds is speaking on the general. It seems like he's trying to make Reds justify that harassment took place when Nate's the one who made the assertion, saying that Steve sent people to harass lawyers. Red said he saw some attacks. And then said, this is not okay. Me saying one time, hey, fuck you, you suck, does not constitute harassment. So all of this has been conflated and blown up of Nate just making shit up to the point that Matt Dillahunty from the left field decided to come in and tell Reds that he needed to justify Nate's accusations and Nate's claims that Reds does not share. So not only, hey, prove this other person's claim, but prove this other person's claim that you don't even agree with. Golden Unicorn for 10 said, I think Matt assumed that Red is accusing Nate of harassing when it was Nate who was accusing Reds of same, because either Nate is dishonest or didn't understand what Reds was conveying. We'll go with the former. Yeah, probably. Well, Doc Dillahunty says that he doesn't know who Reds is. Uh-oh. Oh no, Reds is active on Twitter. Oh, I'm busted. Oh no! Tell him I say hi. This is a situation where apparently Matt cannot accept that people should not be harassed. That people have to be harassed, and they might be able to justify harassment before you can determine whether or not it's okay to harass somebody. So the harassment has to take place first, apparently, according to this tweet. Reds goes on, "This all assumes I care for you to make that determination, almost like you did not understand my previous tweets. You're right, too easy indeed." And now Reds has decided to start getting sassy. This is not this kind of a situation. See, remember, please keep in mind, Matt's question to Reds saying, "I don't care to satisfy anybody, don't harass," is, do you care to satisfy me? Because, he's Matt Dillahunty, so he's king shit, I guess. Or anyone else who just stumbled in. If he didn't want to sound arrogant here, maybe reword this to say, do you care to satisfy someone who just happened to stumbled in here like me? And could you share the actual accusations? Now here the thing is that Reds has already stated and made it very, very clear that he was not going to be sharing those screenshots or whatever he saw. If he has screenshots, or if he can reword it, anything that he has no intention of sharing it. He has no intention of sharing it because he doesn't want to perpetuate the problem, or at least that would be one very valid reason that I would be aware of off the top of my head to not share those kinds of screenshots. You don't want the people who made an attack to then start getting harassed because Reds decided he didn't like how they were speaking. That doesn't mean that everybody's going to agree that it's harassment, and maybe not everybody's even going to agree that it was an attack. But that's not the part that matters. That's not the part that's being discussed. The part that Reds is saying is, I don't care who this lawyer is representing. They should not be harassed based on that. But Inkboy42 says, let's not forget the good old traditions. Hi, Reds. God, that was funny. That was a good day. If for anybody who hasn't seen it, go back and look at some of Reds Rhetoric streams. I'm pretty sure that one's still public. But it was Sean and Reds had caught Kyle deleting YouTube comments off the Non Sequitur show live, and so they started reading them. It was actually pretty funny. And Helios42 says, hi, Reds. So, like he said, this is all assumes I care for you to make that determination. Like Fred says, he saw what he thought were attacks, and he said it's not okay to do this thing in general. He wasn't speaking on the attacks, he was saying in general. Some people don't seem to be able to distinguish those things. Then he's not even having the discussion of whether or not this constitutes harassment or whether or not it even constitutes an attack. It's his opinion. He made that determination. He's not looking for he's not doing this assent and approval thing. He's not looking for anybody else's approval or anybody's opinion about whether or not it's an attack or whether or not it's harassment. He's already determined that as far as he's concerned, it's starting to at least go that way, and it looks like an attack to him, and he's saying in general, this is not okay. Did he unlist that video? What a wiener. Maybe I'll see if I can get it from him, and we'll re-upload it on the Non Sequitur Show channel, because that would be really funny. I'll talk to him about it. We'll see. Oh, you think you won something here. Maybe you should have followed up the tweet with something like, don't forget to like and subscribe. Speaking of which, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications. We're going live tomorrow again with Bent Hovind, no relation. We're going to be talking about maggot therapy because yum! Wink! No, you're right. What a wiener. Penis, 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 penis. I hope everybody now feels sexually harassed that's in the chat. And people who are watching after the fact. Penis, 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 penis. I can't. Okay. Matt says, oh, you think you won something here? Maybe you should have followed that up with a tweet with something like, don't forget to like and subscribe. Meanwhile, thanks for a whole lot of nothing. I'm getting the impression that's typical. I did say no relation. Did I not say? Yeah, Bent Hoven, no relation. I'm sorry. If I forgot to say no relation, that's my bad. Bent Hoven, no relation. Probably. Here's the thing. What about this original tweet looks like it should have like and subscribe put onto the end of it? Nate, don't try to push your fuck up on me, as I don't owe you a goddamn thing. You are the one that made the claim that Steve was harassing Kyle's lawyer, so it's on you. Oh, so it is you who should back it up. If you can't, then apologize to Steve. I know integrity is not your thing, but try. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Why does Matt think that, like, it's not... Red's held this position the whole time. He didn't change what he was saying or doing because Matt Dillahunty showed up. This makes no sense. Ugh. And then he makes more accusations. The only accusation is that Nate said this thing, and that Reds doesn't want to deal with science first, who we know is a dishonest actor. He's not here to have an actual discussion. And nobody owes him a damn thing, and why would they? Same with nobody owes Matt a damn thing either. He seems to get really mad when people didn't just bow to his demanding wanting to know something. Thanks for a whole lot of nothing. I'm getting the impression that's typical. You didn't ask for information. Your initial question was, would you be willing to satisfy me or somebody else who just wandered in here? And Red said no. What are you talking about? Inkboy45 says the only maggot therapy I know is using fly maggots to eat up the dead, rotting flesh from still living human beings. Did I guess correctly or not? You are correct. Look up yeah, Matt, look up SkEpTiCiSm. And then, of course, science first. To be honest, Reds, it's so much easier to just drop the details of what happened. I don't know why you're expending so much energy resisting people legitimately saying, tell us what's going on. Actually, blocking you is easier, smiley face. He's not wrong. But here's the thing. You're trying to apply pressure to somebody to force them to release information that they have that they don't want to release. You know what that is? Harassment! And you know who's participating in it? These two! Helios is correct. Reds answered all of his questions, ironically. Correct. Reds answered every single one of Matt's questions so far. So, I'd expect you to take the easy route. It's all you've done in this conversation so far. Weren't you gone like 47 seconds ago? Nope, still waiting. And Helios swings in here. Holy fuck balls, this is stupid. There were people who were being dicks to other people who were just doing their job. It doesn't matter who did what, to what degree they did it. Or even if the event ever actually happened, it's still the right move to tell people not to do that. Yes, Helios, you're correct. So let's go over here. Aw, you think you won something, because this is where it starts to branch. Because he's talking about blocking science first, because the fact that Reds didn't already have this douchebag blocked is beyond me. But Matt seems to think that Reds is talking to him as the same way he thinks that he's talking to, like, this like and subscribe shit. Like, there's nothing about this that is a like and subscribe situation. But again, Matt did say he didn't know what was going on. He's making it very obvious. Oh, you think you won something here. Maybe you should have followed up with a tweet like, don't forget to like, subscribe. Meanwhile, thanks for a whole lot of nothing. I'm getting the impression that's typical. Winning would imply a competition or a challenge. Educating somebody that no means no is hardly that. The shitheads you debate with want to convince you of something. I don't. It would do you well in the future to understand the difference. Correct, Reds did not start his tweet thread trying to convince anybody that anything happened. He said a personal opinion blanket statement, it's inappropriate to do this thing, and it's on Nate to demonstrate his claim, which I would be remiss to think that Matt Dillahunty would not agree that it's on the person making the claim to demonstrate it. So why is he here talking to Reds, asking Reds to demonstrate something that Nate claimed? Matt, you're fucking backwards in this. You've got it twisted, brad. You got it backwards. Thanks for the lecture. Learn some skepticism. It's stupid to post, hey, I saw this things happen, and it shouldn't, but I won't give you evidence. Stop pretending you weren't looking for agreement. It's not becoming. Adios. This isn't, Matt, what you're doing isn't skepticism. You're drilling somebody for information that is not relevant to the point. Why? Why are you here? Again, it's stupid to post, hey, I saw this thing happen, and it shouldn't, but I won't give you evidence. Let's look at Red's original post again. Nate, don't try to push your fuck up on me, as I don't owe you a goddamn thing. You are the one that made the claim that Steve was harassing Kyle's lawyer, so it is on you who should back it up. If you can't, then apologize to Steve. I know integrity is not your thing, but try. So, where in there is what Matt is saying here? Hey, I saw something happen and it shouldn't, but I won't give you the evidence. I thought Matt came in here not knowing what was going on, so why would he get this from the original post? He already answered him no, that he wasn't interested in satisfying him to know whether or not harassment actually took place, just a general statement that you should not harass lawyers based on who they're representing. That wasn't an up for debate thing that Red said. That wasn't I'm looking for people to challenge me on the morality of doing one thing or the other. So, what skepticism? This is not skepticism. This is just being a dick. Red says Toodles. Nathsooth says, Matt admittedly stumbles into something he's not involved in and arrogantly demands to be satisfied. Fantastic way to deal with people. He also admits to not knowing. Like he said, he doesn't know what was going on. He doesn't know who he was talking to. So, I did want to make this one a little bit clear. Brief lesson on Twitter for anybody who does not know. Because I got caught up, there were a couple of red flags to me in Matt's initial message. You don't just stumble onto things on Twitter. Twitter is catered to whatever it is that you're looking at, or who you're following, and what they're retweeting and what they're saying, and whatever you tend to click on. So if you had never seen, unless Matt Dillahunty follows Rockets somewhere down the line, I don't know, there's no reason why he would just stumble across Reds. And on top of that, if he's into Rockets, I have trouble knowing that. Whoa, I just hiccuped. I have trouble believing that if you're following Rockets, I have a hard time believing that you don't know who Red's Rhetoric is. Brief lesson on Twitter. It doesn't randomly show you things. It's related to who you're following. This is irresponsible at best, and at worst is dishonest arguing of the self-proclaimed fuck Steve camp about whether it's okay to harass a lawyer because of who hired them. I demanded nothing. I asked for evidence to understand the issue because I didn't get it from Nate's post and don't want one source. How arrogant of me. So, chat, I just stumbled across this. I asked for evidence to understand the issue because I didn't get it from Nate's post. That's not you just stumbling on the issue. You at best misrepresented how you came across this. Matt follows Nate and Kyle. So you had already talked to Nate. Nate was the one making the claim, and he pointed you in the direction of Reds, and then you came to Reds demanding evidence for something that Nate was claiming. And you knew Nate was claiming it because you spoke to him first. Or you at least saw his tweet first. So you know he said this. Tell you what, chat, you let me know. 420 in the chat if you think that, this is bullshit. 69 in the chat if you think that he actually did know what was going on. So let's keep scrolling here. Matt is following around 400 and some odd people. Unfortunately, you can't see it in this screenshot, but feel free to go look at his Twitter. Like I said, given the limited number of followers Matt seems to have, I meant like the number of people he was following. I was a little bit unclear there. It's reasonable that most things posted/retweeted by the people he's following goes across his homepage. He said I circled the wrong number because I was unclear, and then 419. There we go. Oh, I see where the misunderstanding is. I should have said the number of follows Matt seems to have. Easily misunderstood. However, I've clarified it. As you can keep reading the tweet, I meant following as the number of people you are following. I understand that now, thanks. That opening line from your tweet didn't match the circle. Now I see what you were intending. Yes, I saw Nate's post. I didn't understand it and asked. Asked Nate or asked Reds? Because at this point, all we know is that you've asked Reds and said you just stumbled across it, but you saw Nate's post, not Red's post. You're contradicting yourself here. Perhaps it may be better to go to the source than and ask the person you know and are following. I thought I was going to the source. Red claimed something. I was looking for evidence. Reds didn't claim anything. The only claim that Reds made in a video was that he saw some attacks on Twitter, and you should not which isn't the next half isn't a claim. Don't attack people, and don't attack lawyers based on who they're representing. I saw some people talking shit on Twitter. Matt's like, oh well, I need to know for sure. I need screenshots to know that people were talking shit on Twitter. What? Am I wrong in remembering the number of examples and number of times Matt has said that you don't need like extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence, but something mundane is mundane and you're going to be likely to believe it? So why are you being so skeptical about this? For one, skeptical. This is when you take this is a really great example of you've taken skepticism too far. Reds isn't pointing fingers at anybody. Reds isn't saying, hey, that person over there is harassing somebody, or that person over there is doing something. That's what Nate did. Reds just said, hey, I saw something that I consider attacks. I saw some attacks. He didn't even call it harassment. So the person claiming it was harassment and the person claiming that somebody did it is Nate. Either Matt doesn't know what a primary source is, or he fell for the exact same thing that science first fell for, and it's if you point the finger at somebody else, the onus is no longer on you to demonstrate it, which is not the case. And here's the thing. Can we please keep in mind, this is not what Matt asked for. Matt's first question when he came up was, would you be willing to satisfy me? Not, hey, I want to know more about what's going on. Can you send me the screenshots, or can you open up DMs and give me some more information? That would have been an appropriate way to cover this. But he asked if... Fuck! He asked Reds if Reds would be willing to satisfy him. Reds said no. Matt got butthurt, and then now he's like just claiming that he was looking for evidence of a thing that he didn't know what was going on, didn't know who he was talking to, and thought he came to the source. So if you thought you came to the source, you did know who you were talking to. You know well enough to call Reds red, and you claimed that you stumbled into this when later you said you saw Nate's post first, didn't understand it, and asked. Did you ask Nate, or did you ask Reds? The source, Matt, is Nate, and it always has been Nate, because he's full of shit. You follow him. You should know this. My brain. In any case, I'm live on the air. RBG is dead. This secondary YouTube stuff is laughable, irrelevant now, and kind of was before. So you were bored? This is not okay to me. This little blurb. In any case, I'm live on the air. RBG is dead. This secondary YouTube stuff is laughably irrelevant now, and kind of was before. I'm not... This is not okay. And I said so. I said as much. It never got a response, by the way. Of course it didn't. A lawsuit over a show loved with one of the members that you follow. Remember, Matt doesn't just follow Nate. He follows Kyle also. A lawsuit over a show people loved with one of the members that you follow stealing tens of thousands of dollars of the fans of that show isn't irrelevant to everyone. Being accused of harassing a lawyer due to their client during said lawsuit isn't irrelevant to most people, especially when the person getting accused is the plaintiff. This is not small potatoes. This is, at best, slander only, and at worst, interfering in the case. If Nate were correct and it was true, it would mean that Steve was going out of his way to harass the lawyer of the person he's suing, which starts to fuck with court shit. This is not irrelevant to the case that's going on, and that's not irrelevant to a lot of people. Yes, there are things that are bigger and more important. Yes, there are things that might be more impactful on a global scale, but that doesn't devalue how people feel or what people think and how important this situation may or may not be to them and to that community that you stumbled into. Why are you here? I thought I was going to the source. You thought wrong, and Nate is stating bullshit like he always does, as you should know, since you follow him. Have a good show. What are you doing? This also came off from the... I'm just kind of following the thread down. So that was my brief education. We also, by the way, I was giving Matt the benefit of the doubt that he doesn't actually have a very good understanding of Twitter, because as we know by his reasoning of why he blocked Steve in the first place was because Steve kept tagging him in tweets. No, he didn't. He was in a conversation that Matt was tagged in, and Matt, I guess at best, didn't know how to either mute the conversation or untag himself or request to be untagged in the conversation. So he thought Steve was talking to him because I guess he's vain and arrogant when Steve was not talking to him at all and he just happened to be tagged in it. Helios for 5 says, see y'all later, I'm going to vote and making this super chat to remind people to vote. Go vote! If voting is happening in your area, you should go do that thing. That is important. Do it. So, whee! I demanded nothing. I asked for evidence to understand the issue because I didn't get it from Nate's post and don't just want one source. How arrogant of me. That's not why people are calling you arrogant. No, what you did was falsely equate me not owing you a damn thing with lacking understanding of skepticism. I thought the intellectual powerhouse known as Matt Dillahunty wouldn't make such a comical error. I guess we were both disappointed in this conversation. Present said, I heard of this guy here and there, and after reading his stuff here, I have one question. Do you agree that rocks are atheists? I could sleep more peacefully, right? Because right now you are 99.9999999% in my idiots list. That and that would get you over to 100%. Aw. Holger, lucky you. I have watched quite a few videos with Matt, and I'm convinced he isn't an idiot. That makes this thread even more hurtful. I'm sorry for that. That is unfortunate. Manya swinging in here like the mad lad she is. Someone make him understand not everything is about Buddy Nate. Not everything is his about Buddy Nate. Is about his buddy Nate. Sorry. He just assumed that V accused Nate. I don't know. Someone accused Nate of harassment without evidence when it was Nate who was accusing us of the same. So yeah, this is Golden Unicorns giving Matt the benefit of the doubt and thinking that somebody was accusing Nate of harassment. Nobody accused Nate of harassment. Didn't happen. When it was Nate who was accusing us of that. Of same. Without evidence, all cause his reading comprehension somehow went down the drain in that moment. Now, Matt is up in arms to defend his mate Nate without understanding the nuance of the situation, coming in sideways, pretending to be worried if there was actual harassment or not, when simply a message was being conveyed that don't harass the lawyers who are just doing their job. Smitty, who I'm glad is back on Twitter now, because he's a riot. Surely buddying up to such folks won't backfire in the long run when they don't submit on some issue and their buddies turn on them years and years of character assassination through billions of sock accounts, surely. Not defending Nate. Nate isn't my mate. I have no idea what Nate would even need defending about. I literally saw a tweet from Red and responded and asked what it was about and got stonewalled. Thanks. It's my roommate. I'm still wondering what counted as harassment of a lawyer and who did it. Then ask Nate. Nate's the one who called it harassment. And Nate's the one who accused Matt of doing it. Also, if you notice, he's changed his story again. I just stumbled onto it, to I saw Nate's post, to I saw a tweet from Red. Which one is it? It can't be all of them. Pick your poison. Disappointed! No, I was looking for information on who harassed a lawyer and how, just to understand the situation. Then that's what you should have asked. This is what I said a couple of minutes ago. You should not have asked, would you be willing to satisfy me? And then not be and then throw a tantrum over the answer. What you should have said is, hey, I'm trying to figure out what's gone on here and what kind of harassment has taken place because I'm not sure what's going on. And I would like to know, can you DM me if you're not willing to share the posts publicly? Which Red made very clear he wasn't going to do. If you wanted this is what you should have asked in the first place, not hours down the line. Simple as that. This is not the way to approach a situation, and this is not an honest way to approach the situation. Brainy, you shouldn't be blocked. I'm sorry. I'll double check it at the end of the stream, but you shouldn't be blocked. Sorry about that. You shouldn't be. Friendly fire? Sometimes YouTube's weird. I'll fix it after the stream. Or at least I'll try to fix it because it might just be YouTube being YouTube. No, I was looking for information on who harassed a lawyer and how, just to understand the situation. I asked about it. You provided nothing. No, you didn't. I asked about it. You provided nothing but reassertion that it happened. The comical error is on the part of this parade of people who made assumptions about what my goal was. Does it honestly look like I give a damn about your goal? It's okay, you'll figure it out one day. Let's look back around here and count. See if you see Matt asking for evidence that someone was harassed. Not there. That's him talking to me. I demanded nothing. Yeah, you did. Yeah, chat, you decide. Was yes or no, Y or N in the chat, was Matt being demanding here? Yes or no? I'll let you guys decide. I think he was, but you guys can tell me. Thanks for the lecture. Hey, I saw this thing happen, but won't show evidence. Stop pretending you weren't looking at it. Still not asking. Oh, you think you won something? That's him, not him asking. Let's see. What about here? Still waiting. I expect you to take the easy route, so still not asking. You're wrong. First I need to know, blah, blah, blah. No question mark. Still no asking. Nope, not asking. I think I may agree with you, but what evidence do we have that any lawyer was spoken to that way and who did it? So here's this first... Well, here's his the last time he asked, which was, right after, do you care to satisfy me or anyone else? And Red said no. I'm seeing a lot of Y's in the chat. So, his second tweet into this, he started asking, what evidence do we have that any lawyer was spoken to that way and who did it? Now, there are, like we say on Caffeine Corner, and like we've talked about this before, there are ways to go about coming into a conversation like this. It's charity, guys. Charity, cookies. Be kind when you want to get information from people. Your first question is, do you care to satisfy me or anyone else who just stumbled in seeing accusations and looking for actual evidence? No! Perfectly happy with this message and don't care to share anything else. Well, I might agree with you that people shouldn't be harassed, that lawyers shouldn't be harassed based on their clients, but what evidence do we have that it took place? Continued the conversation to say, it didn't matter. Like I said, if he wanted this information, he should have, one, asked for it in the first place, and two, said, hey, it seems like you don't really want to have this conversation, but I really want to, I do want to know what's going on. Could you maybe DM me the screenshots? Maybe there would have been a way for you to get what you wanted instead of just being a dick because he said he wasn't interested in satisfying you. He wasn't interested in having a conversation about whether or not somebody was actually harassed. He was interested in the message of don't harass lawyers based on who they're representing. No, Matt, you failed to understand that no means no. You failed to understand that I did not owe you a damn thing. Then you falsely equated that with ignorance of skepticism. I never cared about your goal, nor did anyone else who got the point just fine. You get it, Matt? The answer is that no, nobody cared about what Matt's goal was. I'm kind of curious about what his goal was and why he's here, because it's like, didn't he say he was on a show? I mean, I don't know the timing. Maybe I wasn't paying that much attention, and maybe his show was over, but I thought you didn't care. I thought you were leaving. You said you didn't know who was involved or what was happening. You're not here to defend Nate, but you saw Nate's post, but you saw Red's post, but you saw Nate's post. And you're wondering why people are like, what are you talking about? Oh yeah, by the way, after this, right after this one, I asked Reds and Matt Dillahunty had blocked him right after this. You know. I got nothing. It wasn't long after this that Manya got blocked also. Probably after this right here. I'm not defending Nate. Nate isn't my mate. Blah, 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 blah. He's changing his mind. Matt, I see you've stumbled into Steve McRae's cult. Don't worry, they bite but have no teeth. They will either block you and claim victory or claim victory if you block them. So this is either this person is either referring to us saying we're McRae's cult or that he's hanging out with Nate. And Nate's the cult. I don't know, either way it's kind of funny. Matt, you said you didn't know who Reds was, so what was your motive to approach Reds and whatever he was tweeting? Only two people connect you both, Steve and Nate, and Reds has been actively talking about Nate's false accusations against himself since the last few days. Just wondering, winky face. Or maybe Rockets connect you both. What do I know? Fair question. And then I said, actually, this goes against what he said before. This was him saying that he saw Nate isn't my mate. I have no idea that Nate would even need defending about. I literally saw a tweet from Red and responded and asked what was going on, and I got stonewalled. You didn't get stonewalled. This is him. I understand now, thanks. Opening the line from your tweet didn't match the thing. Yes, I saw Nate's post and didn't understand it and asked. Enough said, I rest my case. Matt thinks we're idiots who don't know what's going on. I do now. So you think people are idiots because you're contradicting yourself. The dichotomy is basic. Either you saw Nate post and decided to ask, or you saw Red's post and decided to ask. And that could be 4 ways. You either saw Nate's post and decided to ask Nate, or you saw Red's post and decided to ask Red's, or you saw Nate's post and decided to ask Red's, or you saw Red's post and you decided to ask Nate. Well, it has to be either you saw Nate's post or you saw Red's post. That's the dichotomy. So, which one is it? He never answers, by the way. If he saw Nate's post first, and even if he didn't, what he said was that Nate's post didn't have any information in it, and so I came here. So you got fooled by somebody making accusations, and they said, well, he's the one who said it, even though they never fucking said it, and you didn't ask for evidence from the person making the initial claim, like you demand people do on your own show. What are you doing? Get yo shit together. My God. Over and over and over again, Matt's like, hey, no, you made the claim, you bring the evidence. You made the claim, you bring the evidence. You made the claim, you bring the evidence. Nate made the claim, and you're going to Reds for the evidence. And then you're getting pissy because you asked the wrong question. You said, would you be willing to satisfy me? Red said no, and then you got mad, and then went on this whole spiel and accusing other people of equating shit about a situation you apparently know nothing about. What's implied over here is something a little bit more than I think people realize. Right here, Twitter doesn't randomly show you things. It means that with the small number of people that Matt is following, that 419 number, with that small number, he's following Nate and Kyle. Between the two of them, with that small number, the things that they're tweeting are almost guaranteed to be showing up on their homepage. Now, they could just be scrolling past them and not paying any attention. That is possible. But it means that these things have come across his timeline before. It means that it's very unlikely that he has absolutely zero idea of what's going on. It also makes it unlikely that he doesn't know who Reds is. It also makes it unlikely that he doesn't know anything about the situation. And it also means that he has very easy access to one side of the situation. Matt, you're not being skeptical, you're being a biased jerk. This is not how you ask people for information. This is not how you behave when you don't know what's going on. This isn't throwing a tantrum when people say they don't care to satisfy you, to say, to discuss whether or not somebody was harassed when that's not the point, is you missing the point. Get your shit together. You've made a huge deal out of nothing and made yourself look like a complete asshole. So you guys in the chat can decide. You guys tell me, do you think that Matt is being reasonable here? Do you think that this is behavior that makes sense? Do you think that this is something that is... Do you believe him? And if you do, which one do you believe? Do you think he saw Reds' first, or do you think he saw Nate's first? Do you think he asked Nate and didn't get information and then went to Reds? Do you think he was tricked, or do you think this? Because this is what I think happened. If you look at this charitably, pointing to others who saw it would help you leave it, as it takes the onus off yourself. So make a claim and then point them in somebody else's direction. That's what it seems. Oh, you guys are more than welcome to give give him more than one chance. I don't particularly care about that. He's the one who bitched about there was somebody else bitching about blocking, that these people were just going to block him, but Matt ended up blocking both Reds and Manya in this thread. I don't know if he's actually blocked me. I can check. Let's find out. Let's see here. Womp, 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 womp. Well, Boole says, I don't believe Matt for a second here. I think he is actually trying to dig up dirt on Steve to back up his own bias. Well, then go get it from Nate, right? I think he saw saw everybody blaming Reds for the accusation, so he went to Reds to show and prove, and then back up somebody else's claims. I think I agree with Polybird. I think Polybird is pretty much on point. This is Matt going against his entire ethos, the entire thing that he preaches, basically, the thing that he stands by, and the things that he wants to promote under critical thinking and skepticism. He is not being skeptical. He is essentially making demands because well, what about me? I'm important. He is asking somebody else to demonstrate claims being made by another person that they may or may not agree with. And I think there are a few key factors we should remember. Reds didn't say anybody was harassed. Reds said some people were making attacks on Twitter. He didn't say who was making the attacks. He didn't even say who was getting attacked, from what I recall. If he did, he might have said Kyle's lawyer. In which case, get out of here, Agrippa. If you want to come in here, your main account isn't blocked. He doesn't say who did it. And then he goes on to make the claim have the opinion that you should not attack lawyers, you should not harass lawyers based on who their client is. He didn't accuse anybody of anything. He just said he saw some things passively. There is no onus on that, because it's not trying to make a claim about any individual. It's not trying to make a claim about whether or not something did or did not happen. It's about the overarching point. The overarching point being, don't harass lawyers based on their clients. This isn't a difficult concept. But Matt didn't understand that, which is something that is bizarre to me, because it's something he should understand very easily. He should understand that Nate made the claim that people were getting harassed, and Nate made the claim that Steve was the one doing it. Why are you talking to Reds? Talk to Nate. It's not even on Steve to denounce that claim. But being decent people, a lot of us are willing to denounce that behavior, whether it did or did not happen. This takes away a lot of Matt's credibility when it comes to dealing. These kinds of things have ramifications. This hurts Matt's reputation. This hurts his message. This hurts his approach to shows, because now you're in a position where people don't think Matt is going to have honest conversations. It's the same thing he pushes on his show, and your show is one thing. You can run your show however you want. Nobody's going to tell you you can't run your show that way. It's your show. However, not everywhere is your show, and nobody owes you a goddamn thing if they don't want to. That's not how it works. And when you demand and you pressure and you try and throw your weight around, and you try and talk shit on people, one, it doesn't make you look good, and two, it's not a good way to get information. If you earnestly wanted to know what was going on, there were 7 ways you could have done that. And if you honestly didn't know who Reds was or what was happening, then you should have just asked and to, hey, can you open DMs? I want to know what was going on. Don't say, hey, I don't know what's going on, demand all this evidence, and say, oh, well, it's not really that important anyway, I'm on a show. Then why are you saying all of this? You're contradicting yourself throughout this entire thread. I'd rather not have talked about this, quite frankly. It was kind of just a bizarre couple of hours of confusion of what the fuck is he even doing here. I don't think he knew what he was doing there. But I'll let you guys decide. You can discuss in the comments. Feel free to ask me questions. I feel like we've covered a lot of this on Caffeine Corner, and... sorry, I just got distracted by something in the chat. Steve and Kyle need to make up or stop talking about the past. One of the two. Truth Seeker, this isn't in the past yet. The lawsuit is still going on. They can't talk to each other, for one, because of the lawsuit. Two, this is not a kiss and make up and talk about situation. It's Kyle in contempt of court. This is an ongoing problem. This is not the past. This is the present. It's still happening. It's going to still be happening for a while, unfortunately, because somebody is in contempt. To insult all of the Non Sequitur Show fans, and to insult anybody who doesn't like being accused of harassing a lawyer during litigation that they're a part of, isn't small potatoes. It's not something that you can just walk in and kick your feet all over, shit on the floor, and then walk out and spit in everybody's face and call them all stupid, because that's what you did. I clearly stated that there was a dichotomy in what you were saying. It was either this or it was this. You should know dichotomies. You like to force them onto things. Figure it out. Get your shit together and do better. Or, go ahead and do the thing that you claim that you don't want. You don't want people to look at you like you're an authority, because there shouldn't be an authority for atheism. You don't want people to look at you because in a way that you don't want people to think you're arrogant. Don't act like it then. This isn't rocket science. Anyway, we'll call it there. That's about an hour. I could pick this apart I could pick every individual tweet apart for hours if I really wanted to, but I really don't want to. If you guys want to know more about this, you can go and find the thread yourself. I'll link it below if you guys want to go look and maybe discuss there. If you guys, that whole thing he said about like and subscribe and shit. Yeah, hopefully I won't have to do one of these for a little while. I just think this was kind of important to talk about, just because there were so many contradictions just in that one thread that I thought it was relevant. I also think it's important that when this kind of behavior does show up, when it is somebody who is as prominent as Matt Dillahunty is, that we point it out. Because at this point, he is not talking to people about the claims they're making, but going to other people to ask them about the claims that other people are making about them. And he's clearly following Nate and Kyle, and that's not something that you would expect a unbiased person to be doing, and to be signal boosting that particular group of people, not a good look. Maybe don't support liars. Maybe don't allow liars in your community to just say whatever they want. Maybe don't do that thing. Maybe don't hang out with rape apologists. I don't know. I'll catch you guys next time. Get me the hell out of here. Bye!